Well, let's get started.
It's not me, but I know. Yeah, so.
I, we have an agenda in front of me, well, capital, planning is, the topic of the day, the principal one, and, we talked about it at our last public works meeting. And, we had a conversation yesterday during the, finance committee meeting about the, unassigned fund balance, and one of the big things, Chuck, more for you, everybody else was there yesterday, is we have about $2.5 million roughly that doesn't have a home.
Oh.
So we have to keep a certain amount of unassigned fund balance, put it into next year's budget to help balance it out. And we have a fund balance policy that guides us on how much we should have in there. So beyond that fund balance policy, there's $2.5 million we need to find a home for or do something else. So that was one of the principal things I wanted to get out today. We do have some ideas on that, we need to solidify them, and I'd like to, if we could come to, consensus here today, what we're gonna do with that money, as well as looking forward and maybe, saying which we've already had some discussion on which projects aren't gonna happen in the near term, they're gonna be put off for longer term. A discussion like that. Plus, there was another item on the agenda. There's something.
Bridge New York.
New York,
Yeah.
Jim wanted to talk about,
You
so
wanna talk about that first?
is that a short
Probably.
discussion, Jim?
It is,
Okay,
just,
let's do that first.
I didn't turn it off, there's on the agenda that's coming up as a, basically a boilerplate resolution that comes from the state of New York that says that the town of Canada, is going to fund this project. And that we are saying that we have the funds for it, is what it comes down to. It's a lengthy resolution. At the end of the day, Nadler will have to sign off on it, Chris Glenn and Jared. Okay, after you
The end
guys.
of this day.
Well, we got today, but
No, actually, it does have to be now. That's-
the next board meeting, so, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of verbiage, and it's just what we have to go through to begin the process of moving this grant along.
What's the excess if we were to get the grant? What's the excess?
We're getting 1.5 million for the culvert.
Which culvert?
That's second point.
Second point, okay,
That's the second point of the
we
culvert.
applied that.
And,
We're getting that for sure.
yeah, we got her.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a given.
Oh, 7 point, I think it's, never mind. It's 1.2, 1.5%, and then we're just saying that we have the money to cover it first and then be reimbursed or
We have, whatever is left, the town is saying we have the money
to complete the project.
project.
How much do we think that's gonna be?
I'm guessing $750. Only because we're at least a year before you even start construction. And concrete continues to rise, so does labor and equipment. So I'd rather have us err on the side of be conservative with a number and come under than not budget enough and then end up going. Why did we budget enough?
Should we allocate some of this 2.5 towards this project then?
I did have a discussion
Yeah.
with Jared.
Yeah, we talked
About a couple weeks ago, he asked me about where we can put some of this money,
Yeah.
and I suggested that some of this go towards
Right.
that project.
Because we need, because we had talked about ARPA going there too, and like moving the ARPA to Ananda where we knew we could spend it. Then we opened this up for the next, a spot where we need to put some of that money.
Yeah,
So you just, create a capital project and put it in there, it's
yes,
not one for that company, right?
No,
So
No money set aside for that project as of right now.
no, it's not.
no, if we didn't take some of this $2.5 and put it in there, would this be something that we would budget? And when we create the budget for next year,
yes.
so we put $1 million, roughly 750 to $1 million in there as a,
I will say yes, but not knowing if it's,
What the amount is, yeah.
well, not sure where we'll be at with bidding at that time. But that's what I'm getting at, this.
So that's why I said $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, we might not even start it next year.
But it would still be, I mean, it might put some of this away,
Right.
take some of this money, put it into a
Right.
dedicated
Budget.
account for that, right,
Right.
in my mind.
It's
Yeah,
either
well,
part of your, was it 84?
this would be a cap, I think we consider a capital project, because it might go on
Okay.
over a year.
Okay,
It's not necessarily, this is not a, I guess you could consider it 284 expenditure.
But it's
Yeah,
extent, but it's,
I'd rather see it as a capital project.
yeah,
So it should gonna be more than 1 year. If you start this capital, this money now, we can carry over next year
Yeah.
without.
How about the year after?
yeah.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah,
that.
Well,
that's-
with
that's
a
what
capital
we do.
project, you can carry it over for 10 years, you
Yeah.
can carry it over 20 years, and then what you don't spend goes back into your general fund.
Yep.
Which is, that's the cleanest, best way to do it.
If we don't do something like this, $1 million hit. And next year's budget
No.
would be,
That would be bad.
I mean, we're gonna take away any other.
Let me ask a question a different way. Are there any reserves now that have money in them that we could pull out for this particular project besides the general fund? And the reason I ask is because the general fund is flexible, right? Way I understand it. And the reserves have to be spent for specific types of work, so.
Correct.
Are there any reserves that we can pull from for this particular project?
Yeah, Alan might have some information.
Yeah,
around how we approve the reserve.
there's the highway improvement reserve fund, which this is, you know, from the beginning of the year, it's about 355, so.
So there is some monies that we could
And-
use in conjunction with this?
And you
Yeah.
still have some general fund unassigned, or some, excuse me, highway fund unassigned still, so
We do, there's what, 600
600
in there.
and plus some.
Let me just, I gotta tell you. one thing.
But those
I'm
reserve,
sorry.
reserve funds can be used in any highway project, any of these projects that we're looking at right here that are highway, like Middle Chester Road, North Road, right?
Yes.
Yes,
So we have plenty of spots to spend it, we just gotta figure out where we're gonna get it from.
Right.
and we also did, there's also a capital project that we had from last year that was the, where do you go? The highway road improvement, reach 39, which is about 490 right now. Remember, that was your little kitty that we gave you for fun projects last year, you didn't use all of it.
So,
Well,
so my, Dave, you're right, but my point is that I'd like to see us use these reserve funds.
Or, yeah, this money's more flexible.
Because this money's flexible, we
Yeah.
can put it back into those
Right,
reserves if we
right,
wanted
yeah,
to,
yeah,
or use them for something else.
no issue with that, but I just think we need to create some fund for this project and get
Yeah.
it funded.
Well, I think, given what you're saying makes a lot of sense, actually, is so we have currently about 500,000 in the highway road improvement capital projects, so that's, remember last year we tossed $1 million in there
Yeah.
from this process last year?
So that money could be used.
Yes, so I feel like we should take the big 500 out of that, use it towards this, and we can add another, however, I know we're gonna be adding that
Right.
fund again this year. But I think that's where it makes the
Right.
most sense
I
to
agree.
keep tossing it into that highway road improvement capital project, and then you can use it from there, but there's 500 already in there.
Is the highway improvement reserve, well,
H
as
30,
of the end of March was 360.
it's not the reserve, this is a capital project, the highway road improvement.
Reserve,
Was
So
that
the
a tax credit
reserve
we had from the
is,
former
yeah,
years?
that's 355.
Yeah.
yeah. So there's two sources.
Right,
There's more than two, so, but.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
But I'm saying instead of creating another capital project for this particular thing, I think we could just stick it in the highway. road
I do that
improvement.
too, yeah, how we.
Is that clean, would it be cleaner to have a separate one? Cause we have
We
to
need
track,
through grant,
do we have to track funding for the grant?
It's just our funding,
just saying.
Well,
yeah.
I think. Let me piggyback on what Edeline's saying. Can we take that 500,000 right now and create a capital project for the culvert? And take that 500,000 and move it into that capital
This is
project?
in a capital project already.
I understand, but so
create a dedicated.
create a dedicated,
I think that just makes it cleaner.
I like to have that title on there that it's this money for
Yeah.
this versus all of a sudden you know, we need something different, oh, let's take it out, highway, we forget, well, we got $1 million in there.
right,
You're
Yeah.
muted, Greg.
We need we need a separate capital project,
and then take this 500,000 and
Just-
put it right in there.
Yeah.
just for, personally for accounting purposes, or
makes it easier
Well, that's
explanation.
easier, also on us, when we get back together, we know we have to put the money there.
Right.
You know, we don't have to talk about it.
Here's
We have a
Brett,
tendency to forget where we.
That's what I'm
Really good.
concerned
Yeah,
with
we
right
don't-
there.
Because we have it, yeah, if we have one pot with 3 or 4 things coming out of it.
Yeah, I don't
We
like
need
that. Yeah,
3 or 4 pots with
Yeah.
only one thing coming out of
Right.
there, we need to get back to that.
I agree.
so do we wanna put $1 million in there, or do you wanna put some in this year, some in next year? Doesn't sound like we're gonna do anything till next year on this anyway.
Well, you're talking about taking 500 out of this
Yeah,
capital project, the Adeline site. So if it's, you said 750,
Then
we're almost there, yeah.
250,
Here's Greg.
2.5, 2.6.
So just fund, you're saying fund it all, fund what we think
I
it'll
think we
be.
fund 7, we fund 7.
Now, pull it out of the 2 reserves,
That's what I'm thinking too.
okay,
put it into one project for
But
Bristol.
we're talking about this highway improvement reserve around 355, 360. Taking 250 out of that for the,
And then that
that
other,
leaves that at about 110. You wanna leave it that low?
oh,
I mean, there's a reason why we created it. And calculated it at that number.
Jim, what do you?
I would say,
I apologize.
let's put that question on hold for a few minutes. Because maybe we'll take and put some money from the 2.6 back into it,
Mhm.
but let's see what we're gonna do with the 2.6.
We need to, we start by, where's, what we have,
Let me start out differently. The towns we need to pay upfront the invoices that come in and get reimbursed from the state. So maybe you have. Million, you put your 2 million. If we have 2 million. Into this account, just this project. And eventually that 1.5 will come back to us each. Up to 1.5 million, up to 2 million project will come back to us.
You're talking about putting most of our,
Well, I just suggest, I'm not saying that you should, but, you know, we're going to have to make payments when the project starts.
Yeah.
So that should come out of that capital line, it should come out. of it.
but if you have 750 or 1 million, and we started talking about. That's your money that you can be putting out as invoices come in and getting reimbursed on a continuing basis, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Shouldn't,
Cash flow shouldn't be a problem,
right? Shouldn't,
as long as the state.
I mean.
That's the checks and send.
You know, I mean-
But
But you know this, Greg?
I would hesitate. I don't want.
I don't wanna
take
put a whole
away
million.
all.
Stick it in there just to get it back, at whatever,
No,
what it's
because
set.
there's so many, thank you, there's so many things that we
Thank you.
have in front of us that we could be using this for now.
so we want.
I'm not, I'm finding a way, I just suggest.
Yeah,
You're thinking a lot.
yeah,
So, but if we had $1 million in there, that would certainly be adequate, not to keep us going, right, yeah.
so,
So you take 500 from the
You're talking about
highway
H39.
reserve. Take 250 from the highway improvement reserve,
See,
we
everybody
were gonna take
gets
it,
paid.
not highway. Capital project. right.
Yeah,
And
so let's-
250 from the,
Jared.
let's pause for a second, so we can write stuff down, so we can tell Jess what we're doing, because there's too much.
So I can follow too.
And so for
Please.
Chuck, because, oh, and don't leave before I talk to you either, and other thing to run by. Don't forget, because I will. So we're gonna transfer out of capital project 39.
Okay, what did you all decide on this guy?
The same thing we've been talking.
Same thing we've been talking about, we're just trying to write it down. The current bet, so that has about 500,000 in it, we don't want to bring that down to 0, but if we took 400 out of the highway and roadway improvements capital project and put that into a new capital project called Seneca Point Road Culvert.
Is this Seneca Road or Bristol?
Seven point, right.
Center point.
Bristol Cross is a whole different ball of wax.
This is done.
We've been talking about a lot of culverts.
that's the one.
Lots of culverts, so transfer out of number 400,000 out of 39.
39,
Uh,
that'll leave 90 in it roughly.
Sorry,
to
that has all my notes on it, everybody.
the new capital project.
Whatever you're gonna call it, something.
Where's Seneca, where's the Seneca Road project? And that's something.
I don't think it's on there.
I don't know if it made it there yet, but if I can't. Actually,
part of 163, right?
it did make,
Howard's was,
it made it to ARPA because we used some of that money.
it's not out here, it was already,
Yeah,
funded by.
Is it in this one?
No, it's not, no.
we used some COVID money to pay for the engineering of it.
That
It's,
wasn't included, it was.
it's primarily grant
Yeah.
funded.
Right,
So these are ones that we talked about.
right.
Okay, so you're putting 400 into a Seneca Point Road culvert capital project with a new name. And then,
And then
are
we
we doing, did we wanna put additional into that to get you to a certain number?
need to get that.
Talk about 250.
400K from H.
H30.
H39.
Last page. The last page there.
And then talked
That
about
one.
highway improvement reserve fund, taking money out of that as well,
Yeah, 250.
250.
That only gets us to 650.
Well, you don't need all of it now, right? So I mean,
That's out of DA
We have to
232.
prepay,
Right.
so
How much?
oh, you do
250?
have to prepay?
prepay it, yeah,
We pay them up, you know,
Yeah,
and then
as-
from from the, through the contractor.
Okay,
Then we pay that, then we send, once we get the canceled check and the paperwork, we send that to the state and they.
when,
reimburse all.
when is this gonna happen? Is that gonna happen in 24?
Greg, was it 25?
I think wasn't the scheduled letting near the end of, or sometime in 25, and then construction was completing in 26.
yeah. I think that's
So
right.
why don't we not put all of it in there right now, because you don't know where it's gonna be? With the assumption that when we have the exact number, we can put it all in there completely. And
Well, we may not have it at that point.
Yeah,
We
I'd
may
rather,
Spend it on something
yeah,
else.
I'd like to leave here funding that full, only because. We're gonna be on the hook for it anyway,
yeah,
so we might as well put it in there right now.
For $1 million or the front the money, for the things we get it
Put
back.
the 400 from capital projects, 250 from the highway improvement reserve, or put 250 in from unassigned fund balance. It gets it to 900,000, close to $1 million.
or you could put it
Set
in.
that aside as and then label it that highway capital or
Senator.
road culvert capital project.
Yes, okay.
So that we know that that's what it is, because we tend to forget.
Do we have consensus to take that from,
39,
we're taking it from H39,
400 from there.
yeah,
Yeah,
232,
250 from DA 232. And then 250,
250 you said from there?
yes,
yeah, that'll leave 100,000 or so.
that still leaves money in there. Yep, and then 250 from unassigned fund balance,
so you want 950 in here, or what is that? Yeah,
But 900.
that's 900.
okay. Is that,
And if the state, is what we were talking about, Adeline, as Jim said. You know, we start the work, we submit invoices, the state pays it. There's the delay, of course, but if the delay isn't significant. You know,
Just keep
it
churning that.
cash flow
Yeah,
shouldn't be,
yeah.
you know, it should be able to roll it along and.
yeah,
And Terry, your only real expenses in 24 are just gonna be mostly soft costs, so you're probably in that, 300,000 range on soft costs for at least the remainder of this year.
So we got one thing done, and now we have 250 less in unassigned fund balance.
Say that again?
But
So we have one topic discussed, and we have 250,000 less
Where?
in our unassigned fund balance to divvy up.
so now we have 2.35 million.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is we just took out we agreed to take 250 from the unassigned fund balance and put it in here.
Okay.
So now we have 250 less to work with in our unassigned fund balance conversation of where we're gonna put that one, because we
That's
just,
what we're whittling down.
we just
Yes.
agreed to put 250 of it right here. Okay,
So now we have
2.25,
because we're good at forgetting where that we
We had
pulled money
2.6.
from there and put it places.
it was close.
So we can keep track so that we see that line move down as we're making decisions with it.
Oh, that'd be a-
Yeah, what would that allow money for the streetlights?
Yeah,
Wait a minute,
that's
wait
the
a
next
minute.
one.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's start from the top.
Okay.
We had 2.6
Right,
million, right?
Yeah, now we're 2.35.
And we're taking 250 out of the,
right,
Now we're 2.35.
all right, so now we're off the. Culvert,
yes,
yes,
so into the, okay,
Hey,
We talked
what
yesterday.
was the total price of the 7 point, what was the estimated?
That was like
2.5.
2.1, Greg, like 2.1 billion.
Okay,
The park,
No, the
Second
culvert.
point,
oh, Center Point, yeah, it was, yeah, because it was a 1.5 and we had, I think the town squip was like a little more than a half a mil, so yeah, it was around 2.1.
Yeah,
so you just came up with 900,000,
right,
and you got
600.
750 for the grant, right?
1.5.
1.5.
Oh, 1.5.
Yeah.
Oh. It says-
So we're at two
So
point
we're
four,
over,
we're at
we
2.4, so we're covered,
Okay.
hopefully,
Move on.
yeah, kind of covered.
in case things go crazy.
Now, just a point of clarification from me. We got round numbers 2.4 allocated for, including the grant. And if the project comes in at 2.1, we got 300,000 extra in that line item. When the project's done, we move that 300,000 and put it in the general fund if we want to, correct?
I would move that
Well,
back into the highway.
What I'm saying, yes, we can.
We can,
Once the project is done, whatever's left,
we can put it wherever we
we
want.
can put it wherever we wanna put it.
That answers
It's not
the
locked
question.
in, yes.
That's
I
right.
think
yes.
that should go
Wherever
back
we-
into the
As
highway.
we want, that's, I just want to be clear. on
I
that.
think all John was asking was, we're not locking this in somewhere that we
No.
can't touch it.
Capital
Yeah,
projects, remember when we just killed a couple capital projects and then a couple had a little bit extra, like the historian one, we put it right back in.
I
the
just want to make sure
general
we can put it wherever
Yes.
we want
Yep.
down the road.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm happy.
Which I would advocate that should go right back into the H30.
Right.
That's where
Well,
we took
I
it.
think it's respectfully, I would say, too early to have that conversation because
Wait,
come 3 years from now, we might have a lot different needs than we have today.
never know.
You never know, right?
Okay,
All right, so we're down to 2.35. And yesterday we talked about $800,000 for the lighting and 332.
I think we should use the 90 that's in the bid toward that as well, and then use those 710 or whatever from general fund and ascending to round that out. So there's about 90 in the bid right now.
I respectfully would not like to do that, just because I think the bid is gonna require stuff that like. I mean, Charlie May would get a benefit from streetlights, but how about when you get off on Firehouse Road, there's no benefit. I mean, there's a benefit to them, but I think it's our responsibility as a town to provide a beautiful access coming in, I think those streetlights do that.
I mean, I agree, I just think that some of it should be coming from the bid, it doesn't have to be a lot, you know.
We have a ton, I mean, a lot of stuff we could spend on the bid in there to make that much nicer than it is in there.
I mean, there's gonna be 100,000 coming in every year in that
Right,
bid.
right.
but we
So,
also. I do get to Dave's point because we also have. Equipment, I mean, we did buy the Bobcat, but we might need other things. We've got beautification things that will 100% come out of the bid that we can't take from other places.
correct, and we should be tracking the reimbursement labor from the district for snow
Right.
maintenance,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So,
Zero, it's not, should zero, you could take some out of it.
that's what, yeah,
Yeah,
it's at 105, you know, so
We're gonna look at it like
that,
the 90.
that's just in, I just went through it with Jess yesterday, it's not
We
in.
don't have
That's
that.
not any
It's,
stuff.
it's just in the, it's just,
It's in the-
they're just budget lines.
it's in the ledger.
So,
So
I,
on the capital projects. We have H35, which is Uptown Canandaigua infrastructure. It looks like there's 100 grand there. And we have H38, which is complete streets. Which shows 263. So my question is, can we pull from either of those to help support the light fixtures?
So this is. Yeah, what was it funded at 99? Oh, yeah,
yeah, I mean, we can pull from H35.
I mean, why not close H35 and use that money to fund the light fixtures?
Cause we're always gonna be wanting to add stuff up there and everything.
but we could always
But isn't that?
close it and start a new one.
Doesn't that get funded by bid, or we could always close it and start a new one if we
The
need
bid
it, right?
didn't fund that
Yeah.
yet, the bids just, cause this is the first year they were taxed, so it just came in this year. It was right about
Right.
105.
But-
15 of that was going towards
the
utilities.
fund balance. As of beginning of the year for Uptown Business Improvement District was 11.7, not a lot of money there.
Yeah,
So.
But I guess if we have that money coming in for the uptown improvements, what do we need this line item?
Yeah. I get where where you're going, trying to clean it up.
Yeah,
So we could we could close two capital, so you're saying H
there's
thirty-five,
100,000, but
what's your other one?
the other one is a complete streets now.
I would.
That one, I don't know if you need to go and run that down.
No, cause that's more sidewalks.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's so many spots
It's more
to,
bike lanes and
Yeah,
sidewalks.
yeah.
It's-
But yesterday when we were talking about these lights, we all agreed. That it's a safety issue, not an
Mhm.
uptown
Yeah.
Canandaigua issue, so
Agreed.
touching that uptown Canandaigua infrastructure money. Kind of flies in the face of that discussion.
Well,
Why?
what are we gonna use it for?
Why?
I don't know,
That's, I mean, that's.
where's the bid,
Why, do you
what's
think,
going on? with
you
the-
think this H35 is funded by the bid?
No,
no,
that's,
saying
no,
that that's
no,
what
it's
it is?
not.
No, it's
No.
not,
So which, I don't get your point.
but what are we gonna, why is it there, why did we put money?
That's my question, why is it there? If we don't have a reason for it, let's use it.
Where is the bid? When was the last time we had a meeting
The
talking
bid is,
about the bid?
the bid is,
We haven't,
right, cause the
There's
bid's
nothing
not
going
going
in.
yet.
There should be though.
yes, agreed.
We're not making any effort whatsoever to get this thing off the ground. What are we gonna need money for? We don't know. So I wouldn't take it all, maybe I tap it a little bit, but I wouldn't take it all out because we don't know what's coming at us.
But don't we have we've got a fund for the bid that is replenishing. Or is,
There's a tax that comes in.
that's
100,000
increasing every year, right?
But that's, is that where the 99 came from?
I don't know.
I don't
I'm not
think
sure.
so.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's my point.
No,
is we
actually,
don't
I know it didn't, because the first time they were taxed is this year, they brought in
Yeah.
105,000, and that's all still.
It's still on that line on the ledger.
So I
So
guess
we must
my,
have funded this in a prior year in anticipation of the lights and everything else that was gonna be needed up there.
and my point is that I'd rather use money from reserves, I guess I'll call it, or
Mhm.
capital projects. Prior to tapping into the remaining 2.35. That's my only point.
Yeah, I
It's there for that
understand that, but
purpose.
as I said, this discussion we had yesterday, uptown Canandaigua infrastructure, these lights ain't it. They are for the
It's a
benefit of
town-wide.
everybody,
It's a townwide.
whether they live in the town of Canandaigua, the city of Canandaigua, or Gorham. I mean, it's.
But if that was,
I would argue that the nicer lights are because, no, it's not, you know, it's not a Cobra light.
The
It's-
thing, the whole band,
It's,
I mean,
that's all I'm saying, and I think, I mean, I feel like that little bit, which it's not gonna be a ton, should be from Uptown.
10,000.
I don't know what, I mean,
Well, this,
any guess?
this 100 grand though, Terry, came from all of our tax
fund
payers,
bill
right?
last one.
Probably.
Right.
Probably.
so it didn't come from the bid,
It
so
didn't
it's
come
a
from the
town-wide
bid.
expense, so we're not just
So I
pulling
mean,
money
I guess
from the
I'm
bid.
not-
I
And-
wouldn't,
Street
like
light.
Dave said, I wouldn't tap the whole thing.
Well, but we can, but that's just a capital project, that's not a reserve fund. So we close out that capital project, we create a new one
That's
for
right.
uptown for the 332 streetlights. We can create when we know, the problem with the bid is, again, nothing physically has happened there yet.
Mhm.
We're close, but it hasn't happened there yet. Then when we see the direction and we see what's happening, then we can make that new capital project that makes more sense. Specifically for what it is, because again,
Mhm.
uptown here, what's that? Uptown
Infrastructure.
Canandaigua infrastructure, what does that mean?
You have the same people.
Oh, sorry, is it water? Is it, so, is it electric? So I mean, I think. As we go forward and we make these capital projects, we need to be more specific in the direction, in the title, so we know
Agreed with that.
exactly what that is, so. I'm okay with closing that. Putting it into a new capital project called 332 streetlights. Then we have that money, we fund it, we pay for it, then as we start breaking ground in projects in the bid.
Create a new.
Then we can create a new capital
Okay,
project.
fine, just remember you said that. Because the time will come when we need the money, and we're gonna be scratching to find it.
So, but if we close that, there's still 90,000 floating around that came
Right.
from the taxes.
Oh,
to
there's
the
11,000 at the beginning of the year, supposedly 100,000.
It's 100, yeah, so we'll,
But
and
is
that,
that going into this reserve,
it's going into the bid
or I mean,
budget.
create a
It's going
reserve?
into their budget,
Or is
I
it-
believe.
It's like a.
There's no
This
reserve,
is
this
a
is
fund balance.
Yeah, it's a.
It goes into the fund balance and it just keeps rolling in, so the bid's fund balance will grow every year, because as the bid grows. The tax base will grow.
Well, in theory, we don't need any other than that.
So
We
this
don't
is all
need
we
to
would need.
recreate.
No. So then this would, is this no, is this gross? That's just bid maintenance and
Yeah,
that's just bid.
right now, their
Yeah.
expenses, from what I talked to Jess about, their expenses are for the mowing that we're reimbursing back to the town. But the town is also reimbursing the district because they're using their capital equipment they have. And there's a utility expense, which already has a $15,000 line from the budget too, so. Jimmy's finding their special district line for good night.
All right, so the 332 lighting is 800,000, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's.
So if you take, what's this, 90?
$100.
Oh, 100 is basically.
So hold on, so we're gonna transfer,
H35.
we're gonna close H35 and transfer it into.
A new,
What, and we're gonna call that,
332 street,
Lighting.
332 streetlights
So at least $700,000.
from the unassigned fund balance.
That's what we're gonna do, we're gonna take 700 from.
yeah, we can do that.
Is everybody,
So we're gonna take 700,000 out of the
Assign fund.
unassigned fund balance, right?
165.
Are you doing that off of the 2.6?
Yeah, I moved it.
All right, I got a great idea for the 165. It's gonna surprise all of you massively. The Middle Chester Road Trail, that's it's the last, it's 1.2 million, and that has been in our comprehensive plan and in our sidewalk plan and in our trails master plan for 16 years now, so it has been put off and put off and put off and put off. It makes it unsafe for the many walkers and bicyclists. and
I drive
everyone
that
else.
road frequently,
Go
and I
there.
don't see anyone.
I see somebody every single time,
Well, good for you, I
every
know,
single time.
you drive it,
I've seen people
you drive it.
walking in the middle of winter to work on the Middle Chester Road.
I avoid it because.
I avoid it.
Right, yeah, I don't ride my bike.
The time to do that line is when we put in the new water line, you do the trail on top of it. That'll be the time to do it,
And I
when
would,
that comes out of that money that we
I know they
get.
want that, but.
I have wanted it done for almost 2 decades
So-
now.
If we put it in now, and we didn't have to dig it up.
Yeah.
Take it up to put the water line
I know
in.
what you're asking, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem to work.
No, not the right
It
time.
is never the right time. 16 years.
I agree that I'd like to see that completed, but I hear the water line thing, that does make.
So
sense.
when so that what,
And let's put it this way, if that's the case. You know, I would like to almost put Middle Chester on more of a road diet and not have it as wide if we have a multimodal path now. So that would also, I think would. You wouldn't need a 5 foot wide, you would need a 33 foot wide road down through there, I'm saying.
Greg have thoughts? Now that I waited for Greg to put food in his mouth, and then I'm like, I wanna know if Greg has some thoughts now that his mouth's.
I want to take her, is the road diet easier than a me diet, is my question.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Middle Cheshire road diet potentially.
And well. I should have put, and I would like to.
I don't think
use-
he understands.
I think also, if we do Middle Cheshire road sidewalks. I think it ought to be more of an asphalt walkway or bike lane
Yep.
as opposed to
That's
a
what,
concrete one.
that's what he
Yeah.
had, Greg had
Right.
engineered that already, so. So
That's where we're headed.
it's ready to go.
Trail's much cheaper.
That's why I'm calling it a trail instead of
So
a
Jim,
sidewalk.
in terms of time frame, what do you think the water line on Middle Cheshire, just ballpark year? 2 years, 10 years, 16 years,
No,
So it's tied to the funding, right? So the WIA grant goes in June. Our award could be potentially at the end of the year, usually in December, which means we'd be in design in 25 and then hopefully construction in 26. That's if we hit the grant this year. So it is possible. This could be a 2-year cycle on the grant, which means so 26, 27 timeframe is probably your realistic timeframe.
I just, I'll bring a personal thing in about this. I have a kid that goes to college right now who does not feel comfortable riding her bike on a street because she grew up only riding in my neighborhood. Because she could never ride her bike on Middlechester Road, and she is one of thousands and thousands of kids that grew up along that stretch that have been unable to use bikes to get to work and or school and or anything else because of that road, so that's all I'll say.
And I am an avid cyclist, I agree with you, so I would suggest ride down one of those hills to Westlake.
No, that's what you have
It's
to
a
do,
little
but-
safer, I mean,
But it's,
I'm totally with you, I would like to see that project completed, but if we're just 2 years away from doing it with the water line. As long as we make
if you
that a
can tell me
priority,
that we're making it
as
a
long as we make that a priority,
because
right,
it's
yeah.
been on the list for 16 years, so.
Yeah.
So Jim, if we did that with a water line, what would, or if we did it now, Coles, it'd be 1.2 million. If rolling it into the water line, is that what our estimate is to do
Yeah,
it?
because you have to add that cost.
So we'd still be at that, there wouldn't be a massive cost savings.
There would be some cost savings, because
We're not
when we
prepping
do,
that.
when we do restoration of the site, that would be prepping it in for this pass.
So we'd
It's really
save
the
the,
cost of the asphalt.
so we'd,
It's some-
yeah, so we'd
It's
save,
like an asphalt.
so we'd save the prep work.
Yeah.
That part, and then, which is significant, and then we'd still be in it for the stone and the stone topping.
You'd have to, if we put this bike path in now, would you have to remove it to put the water line in?
Yes,
So, I mean, that
Yes.
alone to me says that, yeah, we want, I mean,
yeah,
And I get it, 100%, I get it,
I do too.
I do.
And if you're switching to asphalt, we have to make sure we pick a dimension that makes sense for the paver.
equal.
I know in prior projects where we've gone with this 5 to 8 foot wide asphalt. It requires a special paver, it's hard to get, and it's relatively expensive, like you don't get the economies of scale if you use a wider, and more standard paver. That's sometimes why people go to concrete, just so you're aware.
Well, let's move on.
Okay,
What about the build out in town hall?
What do you do?
That
That's done.
well, is there a question about
all
We already
stands to around 500,000.
It's around, we transferred that into there last time, so we've already taken that out of this amount. The money, the amount we started with did not include that. I mean, Greg, I know we're at 500, do you see that increasing? Do you see us needing to fund more than that? I know when we started talking about HVAC and. One of the big concerns is HVAC because none of the rooms are the same temperature, you have a hot room, you have a cold room.
Right,
So there's HVAC and there's also, I think that was the big one, right?
well, anytime you get into bathrooms, there's some money there.
Yeah, so I mean, and we had cause that's a suggestion just to refresh them. Refresh the bathrooms and then, some of the other add-in was, the countertops, in millwork in the clerk's office, because that's falling apart.
Right, so I did send the amendment letter to you and Jim, so you guys have it. So that'll basically carry that minor scope, or not minor, but the scope changes from when we did the proposal to our last communique and meeting with the town regarding. So that covers that. As for your budget, I would suggest, why don't you wait till we get through design, then maybe we can try to give you some updated numbers. At least give you an idea of if we're gonna be closer to 500 or 600. I think it's a little too early right now for me to be able to tell you where we're gonna end up, until we kind of really see what that whole scope of work looks like.
What, how much is the ventilation in firehouse too? If we just did the ventilation in the firehouse?
I don't have the construction costs right now, Adeline. I did just get some updated numbers from Turner, so, again, those are in the amendment letter.
Okay, I mean, for my opinion, I think the ventilation in fire station 2 should be high on the list as
So
well.
maybe we should put a couple 100,000 more from this.
Can I
We
suggest
don't
that?
spend it.
Only because it's gonna be more than what we have in there.
Talking about the town hall.
Yeah, still at the town hall, and then we're there, we improved it. And then we close it out and we have it to work with at the end of the day, so take it, either add another 100 or 200 to it.
Yeah, that'd be good, cause I think.
Because we're gonna end up going, we need we'll have furniture in there that we'll need to spend because with the new office spaces that. There will be new configurations, so there will be other money, so I would propose an extra 200.
Or we could just grab it from the general fund unassigned as we need it. I mean, there's still gonna be money flowing around.
I'd like to see some projects that we could complete, they're done, you know, like.
Cause this would be done,
Buffalo, well, I don't disagree, but like Buffalo Street. Emerson Road, those are all things that we could do with that money, be spent and be done with it.
Mhm.
I would like to,
That's why I was
Some of
talking about the fire station too.
yeah, and I think that's,
I think that one.
I think that's
we need-
only fair to
that's-
firefighters that do
Yeah,
that.
that's one for me that I'm like, that's.
Yeah, I don't.
They kinda need ventilation.
Right.
So,
But what about town hall?
Are we
renovation?
leaving it then, or are we adding an extra 100 into there just to put us at 6?
I
I'd put it
think
in.
that you could put another 100 in there, and the reason is. Your current, even though we updated it 2-3 years ago, you are now creating. Individual rooms that will not have individual heat or cooling
mm,
in each one, and you don't want somebody to have a space heater in one
Right,
and a fan in another, so
Yeah.
now. We need a
Exactly.
little thought
cushion for that.
about.
And we need to
either
be
use
able to-
mini splits
Yeah.
to condition this area or something to that effect to.
Okay. So
Cause
let's
right
put
now,
that
I'll use Jared's office as an example, when Jared and I do Zoom meetings, if the air conditioning kicks on, it sounds like
you
a
can't,
windstorm.
in a car, you can't hear me, it's in a car wash.
Alright, and that could be going on in other rooms that people are trying to work in.
Okay.
So,
So.
So we're gonna transfer 100,000 to the town hall renovation capital project.
Which is each 42.
Speaking of the town hall, there was a.
What did
So
you
the
just say?
capital project you're
Each
talking about,
42.
Oh, it's the project?
parking lot.
Oh, yeah, the parking lot repaving. Yeah, it needs, we probably need another handicap space too. I don't know if we can add that.
we should. Excuse me.
I mean, we could use the existing kind of walkway-ish space for that, but that's really, I mean, that's not in great shape right now, that little cut.
No,
So,
it's not,
was there a schedule you were planning to repave that at all on?
no, there hasn't, we discussed it, I think part of it is. Were we gonna make the parking lot bigger? You know, there's
Yeah.
a discussion because. Portland's basically.
Ever.
It's like, right.
Yeah, everywhere.
On Court night, and there was also the discussion of. If and when we built a new court facility, or when we built a new transfer facility, would we do that work then? You know, those are ifs, because we
Right.
keep calling, I mean, I think you can safely go to the. Out another whole parking lot, so you had, say, enough room for 60-70 vehicles.
Do we have another,
Yeah,
Over there.
over here,
Coming to the.
go
north,
towards the, I'll say east,
Go to the east,
yeah,
I mean, the lower
the
level.
lower
Oh,
level.
okay.
could we make a different parking location for the 4 town vehicles or something? I mean, it's still convenient for the workers there, I mean, I don't know, cause that could be. I mean, maybe something on the side even, I mean, no,
Okay,
okay,
I would say.
You can say no.
Really, because. You don't want,
I don't want them far away from the buildings.
well, there's that, it's the fact that if they're on the side road, well, then we would move them to plow.
Okay.
Slow down through there,
Yeah.
um.
Just a thought. Cause that's taking up 4
it takes up
spots all
4
the time,
spots, right?
so.
We'll have a lot of room there to add anything, you gotta keep that buffer between 5 and 20. And.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of room until there's a major redesign,
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
we should probably just repave it then, because we're not gonna have a major redesign anytime in the next 3 years, so. It's gonna need to be paid,
Yeah. It's big.
so.
Then we could probably, we should probably tie in the stormwater to the new pond we have and look at the drainage around there, cause it is part of the problem, the lower parking lot, it traps water. Can't get out.
When we repave in the lower parking lot, there's that one spot, I pointed out to you like a couple years ago. But there's this one spot where if you just kept going, you'd go into the huge. Can we do something to put a buffer or something there, so somebody doesn't just walk off into that?
We had $150,000 in this,
Yeah.
when you guys put this list together, so is that, we wanna do that, and. I mean, is that something you could do this year, or?
Yeah, we would try to do it in the fall, you know, September, October,
In between projects,
you know, get the bigger projects going for the most part, and then. Mill this out and pave it.
So we wanna do that?
150 for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that gets
And
us
you
to
had
1.4.
You'd written down 150, so where are we
But
putting
then town
that?
hall renovation again.
You create a capital project for that? and-
No, I would do the budget amendment to your town, no, to your town hall contractual line. You know, like what we use for maintenance repair of HVAC or
Okay.
purchase, you know, you could put it in our parking lot. When you would add it to the,
Why not just put it under remodel town hall?
I mean, it could go either spot.
Do you wanna put it in the town hall remodeling? You guys okay with that? And town hall renovations?
Yes, yeah, I mean, that's easy enough to do as long as we know that's part of
And I
it.
was gonna take 250 from AA 100, right?
Yeah, that would be 259, so now we're at 1.4.
Right,
So we're gonna transfer 250 into H42.
well, oh, right.
He's adding
No,
150.
And of that, 100, of that. 150 will be for parking lot.
Jim, did we count for the ballpark already? Did we-
No, we haven't.
Did- That was $150,000.
yeah, but let's decide that.
I had a note that we were taking money from the ARPA fund for that.
No.
I think that was discussed at one time,
But it
John.
didn't happen.
I don't think it's, I think that, it sounds like a board made decision.
That was all.
That was all going to, not.
Okay.
So. Is that something that could be accomplished this year though? Because you're talking about your guys doing it.
Yeah, we would just get left, put the, screw them out to the side, the existing purlins that are up there.
So you wanna take, you had 150 in here.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yes, we're gonna do
Yeah,
that.
we'll do that. Please, it's the laminating, so,
Where are we gonna put that?
well, you could, again,
Campus.
put it back in, highway.
That's 150.
I'm sorry.
The highway road
20,
improvements.
we do 162404. Again, that's building highway, buildings highway reserve, that's where all of our maintenance comes out now.
Okay, so then that, we'll just transfer that in there and have to make a budget.
You can do a budget amendment to that line by increase that one thing to decrease in the.
I mean, you could also just pay for that out of the highway equipment reserve fund.
Well, only thing is, that's a D account, this
Yeah.
building's a
The buildings in a
A,
hay.
so we have to use A.
Oh, 'cause it's
All
buildings.
buildings are A's,
Building,
yeah,
even though it's
even though it's.
literally for
It's
that
a
purpose.
salt barn, it's
Yeah.
an A account.
Yeah.
That's-
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
I
managed
got
to
you.
spend almost 1.3 million so far,
Mhm.
down to 1,250.
That's more productive than we've been in a long time. Look at that, we're just killing that.
Um,
I don't know.
that's exactly how much Mill Cheshire Road improvements
Yeah.
are. Just thought I'd point that out. I will again say ventilation for the fire station, that's really. That building's been so ignored and it's, I mean.
Yeah.
It's just gonna cause the same problem again if it's not properly ventilated, so.
That. You have a, they look at that and give.
We have looked at like electrically, Greg did mention that Turner was looking into it, and we have some. Guidance from the fire chief on what they'd like for ventilation out there.
Do we have a price tag on anything or?
Well, so the price tag that's in here is concrete floor and ventilation
Yeah.
for $500,000, which I don't know if that would actually cover that, but that's what is guessed in here,
The
guesstimated.
floor is. Yeah, that's what it. It's got a lot of heaving and cracking in it, so.
Could that be coated, it's actually coated?
No, it's,
Or anything?
they're out. put back.
jackhammer it out, replace.
Yeah.
Is
I mean, it's
that-
not, it's just a maintenance issue,
Yeah.
and
Which brings up another point, by the way, we really need to have, that station needs to have some sort of reserve fund for maintenance going forward, so every year we put a certain amount of money in that to replace the roof, fix, and fix the building, which we haven't been doing.
Isn't the city responsible, they're responsible for inside,
Interior,
interior, like painting.
but that doesn't cover.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics.
Yeah.
If it has a cup, no.
The equipment bag.
Not HVAC.
Or HVAC, yeah, because we replaced the hot water tank not too long ago, we replaced the generator not too long ago.
Yeah.
We repaved the back not too long ago,
Yeah.
so it's kind of something that we're getting into a good spot, I think we should kind of
Go into their kitchen.
finish it and then give it another 15
That's
years.
what they
period.
you know, ventilation, cleaning the walls with suck and repainting, kind of would go a long ways there.
Oh, we should do that, I mean,
Yes, that's what I bring it up.
concrete floor, I don't know.
Well, that's something we could, again, budget. Next year, we can talk about, we'll put it in, we got the budget coming up, this is discussion we had.
Mhm.
That's gotta be a big chunk of that 500 though. Concrete floor, I would think.
Yeah.
I bet it's gonna be more than 500 these days.
No, I don't think so, I mean, it's not that large of a slab, it's just more, you have to jack it all out, their trucks, all their stuff like to come out, and you put somewhere. Well, before we done, you got less than 30 days after it's done, so it can cure, the support the weight, and. It's just, it's just like rebuilding them up.
This is not on the list of the one
It's in
sixty-three.
here, but-
I'll
It's in the facility
In the back,
capital
yeah,
projects in there, so.
So are we doing that, or are we looking at a road project or something on the outside? What are we looking at?
In my opinion, I think, this is a thing that we've invested in this year, so let's get it all in a good spot. So that it can move forward all together in a good spot and
Maybe we leave the
Focus on
concrete
something
floor
else.
for now, but all the
Now,
rest of
with the
it.
ventilation,
ventilation would be really,
100,000.
yeah, I don't think it'd be
okay,
terribly more than that.
so.
So what are we putting now?
We've got something for them, some fire station 2, H37.
So we're gonna transfer 100,000.
I would point out that, Jared is taking such good notes here that he'll probably summarize that, give us a. Minutes of this.
Yes, I will.
Well,
The
Jared,
good news is Jess is off all next week, so she gets to come back,
Yeah.
let's do all this, right?
The good news is
you'll have it done.
every time I have a random hair on my, if you ever get one of these, wax your hands, because every time I get a random hair, it
I
like
don't like
touches
that.
and it like flies off to a different section.
Is that an Apple
Seems like
product?
Seems like a you problem.
Get an Apple product.
So what's the line?
H37 is Fire Station 2 capital project. Just so everybody knows, H's are always capital project. We got lots of stuff to do this summer, Jim.
1150. 1.15.
What was the reasoning behind us not doing the floor at the fire station now?
Well, just. It's. Not at a point where it's creating a safety issue or anything, but it should be done at
It's
some
called
point.
on.
Jim was saying that's something you could budget for over time. I think.
Could they store their trucks in the highway garage even? I mean, if it's summer?
Well, they're probably all the way down, so they can be outside.
They can be outside.
Like.
Well, I don't know, I mean, John's point, should we do the floor now? I mean. You're sitting here at 1.15 million and you're starting to scratch our heads over. it.
Well.
Not scratching it out, I got some other places that
We've got, Dave had Buffalo Street extension improvements to line up the pavement and the sidewalk curbs.
And I got North Road.
Right,
That would be something for next year, guys, only because
Buffalo
we
Street,
would have to go through it and survey.
okay.
And we also already have
So-
the detour going on with.
North Road.
We don't wanna do it right now.
Road.
You don't want another, you don't want us to have two like that?
I really would rather not have two roads.
Okay,
Well,
so
yeah, but I mean, you could create a capital project, put the money in there and then do it next year.
You could, or I could spend some of that money just paving this year. You know, on the roads, so.
That-
and that-
And by the way, Cooley Road, I fell asleep driving down it last night, because it's so smooth.
Yes.
I was coming back from a county meeting, it just rocked me.
I was driving up to Buffalo this week and I'm like, it's a little concerning that the roads that are getting repaved right now are outside the supervisor's house and Terry's and my house.
Water.
It's kind of like disconcerting. I mean, is county.
They just did County Roads, County Road 32 a couple years ago.
That's gonna be a state job.
Yeah, you know, that's the house down there.
Yeah, you're gonna get a roundabout. I'm like, this is a little disconcerting
So
right now.
then with that, if we're not, so we've got North Road, we have paving and we have, do you still wanna? Are you still holding out thinking of fire station or are we good?
No,
Okay,
I don't know, is it?
Maybe.
I mean, is it time just to do it and get it right and finish?
I
I'd rather
like,
pay, I'd rather pay.
Okay.
Jim, how much money in paving would, I mean, what would it take to complete your wish list of paving?
Well, I share with your.
Billion.
Off road, I'd love to finish it off. Rosier Road needs to be overlaid, that is a. Pre-existing cold mix road that we surfaced, the problem is has no. Hard wear surface on it like asphalt does, and the shoulders are
Terrible.
Terrible.
they're falling away. So that's one that should be done, small roads like. Kepner off of 332 and Fire Highway, but it
Charing Cross.
Charing Cross is
It's a
another one.
mess.
You know, these are just small roads that are really these be. Milled, built, or actually add drainage and base to them. I mean, not necessarily your mainline roads where you travel, the problem is they've gone to a point where they just need to be repaired now. So. I
So
would like
Rossier,
to
Kepner, what else?
Golf. Charing Cross. Small one. Yeah,
I don't know if they are.
it's all right. You know, we're gonna build Phil Stable Gate this year.
Old part of, the old part of, Riley's, in good shape too.
Yeah, I probably want to do all that at once, I don't want to just piecemeal that.
Okay,
Um,
what about in Foxville,
Oxford is good.
Okay.
That everything's fine shape.
Stable Road?
Stable Gate's getting
He's
done
doing
this
that.
year, so, you know, McIntyre Road can use it. Another one with new Pear Street extension from 5 and 20 up the hill, I got fix a drainage in it. And Butler Road. That could use, Whitefield's Road, the other half from Acorn Hill down.
Yeah.
Would be good.
So it sounds like with this, if we gave that whole 1.15, you'd be able to get all that done.
I just,
I know, that's what I'm asking.
I would say do 5.
Right.
500,000, okay, cause. When did we start? Doing this much paving, getting other town to help, cause they're all paving.
They're paving too, it's,
Yeah, so, cause we're trying, I don't like to necessarily pay for trucking, cause it's, you know, around $10 a ton.
you just trade it off.
No, I mean like hiring some,
No, but you just trade with other, you know, you trade with the others rather than hiring
So if
the
you
other
pay,
towns.
oh yeah, that's what you know.
Yeah.
If they're too busy.
Right, then
Then we have to hire, it's around $10 a ton, so it's,
so that could go to,
what you're saying, take 500,000 to 1.15 left
Right.
for paving.
so that could go to
Okay,
H.
is everyone good with that?
Or you put that in,
you put that in 5110 400.
Or you could put it in H39. That's all I
I
think,
think
fun
that would-
kidding.
It is, but like
it's not really a capital project though.
I would put it in the 5110 and redo the 24 agreement.
So transfer 500 into 5110.
we're 51.
650.
So I'm sorry, this
That's,
is
that's
the budget,
the regular budget one.
that's the DA 100, 5110, 400.
So 650 left.
And,
Jim, was the, what's the road across Albert?
DA 100,
500.
5110. I thought 400, we budget.
There's dots before 5110 and after.
If it's not, that's the number. Bristol Crossroads, is that, did we budget for that? Do we have that? You have that money?
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah, it's done.
Good.
But
So we're good.
But you had
I use,
covered financially.
yeah, we're, right.
But we're.
Oh, this, well, I just about 51 times to pay for it.
What
Okay,
about this?
but my question is that wasn't something that you budgeted for this year, but we had to do.
I think I,
You
Did
take
you?
it out of that or from here?
yeah, I could take it out of that, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Well, that's, I mean, my point is, should we replenish that with some of the,
Yeah, but that you just did that with that 500, so that will,
what?
that 500,000 could be considered.
Yeah, I did.
Well, 500,000.
We
just
did
did
500 for paving.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the culvert,
Yeah, you.
But what he's saying is what he spent on the culvert,
We
we
just
just
put in.
replaced with the 500,000.
if I thought this 500,000 was for extra.
It is.
It is, but
But-
we already paid for it, we're done paying for the culvert, it's
But-
already done.
You have money in there for paving this year under the 284.
Correct.
I thought we were adding to that.
Yes, we are,
500,000.
correct. Am I missing the point?
I would trust him. I would just say.
He's saying we
Somewhere
can take the
there's something
500,000
going on.
from the paving to
Yeah,
pay
right.
for.
Yes, I did. I took money from the budget this year.
So
Yeah.
his point is, if we're only putting 500 back in, then that's
That's
just
true.
going right back to where you were, not adding new projects.
If we had spent 500,000 on Bristol Crossroad, just so you know,
Okay,
but we probably spent about 200 of it.
okay.
So effectively, we're only giving you 300.
Of that, right? So I'll give you 750. There you go.
Aren't there any other toys you need or?
Well, we
He's got
do, but like,
so many.
Well, you gave, I mean, you realistically think all these Capner and Goff and all these, you talk about. be able to-
yes, those are
You
key.
think
Paid.
they're not that,
They're not huge, they're not long, we'll mill them out, fill them back in, and so we have the.
So are you saying take another 250 to put into that
Right.
paving fund? So we have 650, if we take 200,000 more, that puts us at 450, right?
So we're putting, you want all that in the
700.
DA?
700,
You want all that in the
700,000.
DA?
You want
510?
700?
yeah,
Okay, so.
so instead of 500, it's 700.
Now it's 700,000.
700 to GA 510, so that's bringing us, what are we
So
at?
that leaves us 450.
I gotta ask about this aeration in Kramer Road water tank. Is that something we should be doing?
well, we currently are asking, as part of our WIA grant, that we're asking if you have any put in there, John, so let's see
How the grant goes?
goes, okay?
Yeah. So,
We have 450.
let me ask the
I think
question.
it should go to wayfinding.
Don't even go there.
How about we could do solar panels?
I was
We
gonna
already-
say, we don't have to spend it all today. Why don't we just sit on this 500,000 for a couple of months and see how things develop and.
But that puts us, I think we should spend it today, because that puts us in outside of our policy.
I understand that, but if we're outside of our policy for a couple of months.
We've
Well,
been outside of the policy.
honestly,
for 5
Being outside of the policy, so here's why we have the policies, and I know Terry's got, so the bigger picture. Is. All the comptroller says is you need a reason, you're allowed to have a reasonable fund balance.
Yep.
A reasonable amount kept. School districts before asked the state to define reasonable. They're like, tell us what reasonable is, because we're not smart enough to figure out what reasonable is. We need direction. So the state came back and said reasonable is 5%. So you're allowed to have 5% fund balance.
I don't know.
Very low.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is, the only people that only people it's gonna affect is us. Our auditors are just gonna say, you're over your fund balance policy. The comptroller is not gonna dump on us
Right.
because we have a whole list of projects we can spend it on.
And my point
Yeah.
is that, we were surprised this year by the roof at the fire station, and that was $250,000. There could be other surprises we're gonna be incurring along the way, so, I mean. I recognize that we're over our budget, but I'm not saying we stay there, I'm just saying, let's pause.
Let's figure
Get
it
our
out.
breath a little bit, and we revisit this in 2 or 3 months and say, have we had any new surprises, or are there new ideas that we can spend money on?
We're going to be getting into budget season pretty soon. And we know that we're
Mhm.
going to have to add to staff over time. We're talking
Mhm.
about building a deeper bench. So our budget, our spending is going to take a step up.
Yeah, we're right.
So.
Right.
I agree.
So this money, yeah, this money won't roll over as much. I mean, we'll have a rollover every year, but we're not gonna have to say, gee, we need to spend $3.5, not $4 million.
Right.
Because we'll spend it during the year.
Yep.
Instead of doing it now.
That's what I'm
It's a
saying.
cumulative effect over a number of years. Not just-
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good year, but. That the amount that we put in to stabilize the tax rate. May have to go up.
Mhm, right.
It may take a significant portion of that.
Right.
So I agree, I wait. We get into budgeting, revisit it again.
Yeah.
We wanna take some of it, that's something we see coming
I do
3 or 4 months from now.
I do feel like though, with the ARPA money that we put towards Oneida, that needs just a little bit more to basically get the infrastructure in there. I mean, I would like, when we're talking about completing things that we start, I would like to put something into that. To get it
How much,
ready to go.
we're putting what, 800,
Something.
887,
should we take it up to 1 million, or would that give it,
Well,
I mean, what? To Adeline's point, complete that step, if you will. How much is? I-
That's, well, we have a, Greg, I'll leave it alone. So we got that estimate, which I think is. High,
Mhm.
well, 3 million to do the work up
Yeah.
there. Okay,
It's everything, yeah.
yeah, well, everything but the bathhouse.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yes, that
To
that
get-
was 2.5,
I thought
It was
it
2.5.
Was it 2
Yeah, it was, but we figured
but then 5.
3 included probably the bathhouse and whatever
Oh,
else we
yeah.
did that around, that's why that was in your head.
So,
Yeah, a big contingency on it.
I mean, you're gonna
Yeah.
pay $100,000 all day just getting a road up there, a septic system, electric.
Yeah,
Water main. That's, that's easily spent.
Well,
With the ARPA
maybe-
money.
Round it off at 1 million instead of 887.
You guys can.
So we're gonna eventually have to come back and put more in.
Or-
I think again, I'd rather be.
But here's the other
conservative.
thing, I mean, we can always,
No, you can.
spend it, cause I'm leaning with you on this one, because. We're gonna get into these projects.
Serious? No way, come on.
hey, we.
Go on, let me-
I get no close to it.
Come on.
Terry moved away. Terry moved away yesterday.
I know.
Like we had
I
our
think-
fireworks moment a couple weeks.
So that's- so-
The floater.
What floater? Wait, why are we talking about floater?
Because I'm getting,
Yeah.
I got floaters.
In your eyeballs?
Oh,
Oh, that sucks.
All
That
right,
sucks to
hang
get
on.
old.
Hang on.
Okay, stop
Back-
talking.
Let's get back to money.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to money.
No more 30-second diversions. So I agree that we have that in the back of our head. We don't know, what if something comes up at town hall? What if something comes up with the fire station? What if something comes up when you're doing the paving?
But we still got
Or we
almost
get
$2
some
million
water mains
on a
break.
sign.
Right, but then, I mean, I talking to Mary last night, Mary Gates, we were talking about sales tax.
Yeah, it's definitely
And
not.
we're gonna be
staying
taking a
with
hit.
us. Yeah,
I mean, she's like, we were talking about, the county was conservative, I was talking about how we were conservative with our budgeting. And we will, even going forward, and she's like, yeah, that COVID bump is over. So before COVID, we were like at, 1.2-ish, 1.1 that we were getting on a regular basis, and then it bumped up to like 1.43 and 1.4. So we're gonna go back to pre. And if you figure that out and extrapolate that over a year, that could be easily anywhere between $500,000 and $800,000 less coming in. It could be,
Could be the 500 we need right here.
right? So I'm,
we're, but
That's fine.
I still have to say though, we're still well in compliance with more than 30% of that cushion already sitting there. And unlike our own personal finances, it's our job that when we bring tax money in, we should be spending it for the current people that live here on projects in this town. And not keeping more and more and more for a rainy day. We already have a lot of reserve funds anyway, on top of the.
And I don't think anyone disagrees with that. The only thing I'm saying is, let's just pause,
Take a breath.
catch our breath. And in 2 or 3 months, we revisit this and see if there's been any dramatic new things that have happened in our town that are gonna require some monies that we haven't accounted for. up to
There's
now.
always dramatic things that happen, we feel like reciprocity.
We have a good spot to put it though, if not, in my mind.
So if we, I mean, and if we come back and if we set it to, I mean, budget. We'll be doing budget in June and July, and I mean, if we get back with this, let's say we're in May, so maybe in July, this is on the agenda to talk about. And if things are looking pretty solid, then yeah, I think there's consensus to take that 450 and. Let's finish them, let's get Anand to finish and then
Some things with it.
see what else we
As long as
got.
we're revisiting this in July.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I just don't wanna keep pushing back.
No,
I'm
pushing
for it.
back and
Well, we
forth. And I
just-
really would like us to be in compliance with our own policy. That's just.
I think, you
We
know
just
what,
spent $2.2 million, which is about 50% more than what we take in as tax levy.
Yeah,
and I think, you know, what we're, is good coming out of this meeting is that we've done it with consensus.
mhm,
And I think we ought to be applauding ourselves that we haven't, you know, we've gotten this far and did what we did today with consensus. I mean, I think it's great. Let's,
We generally have consensus on where we all want the town to go, it's just certain things are more important to some people, like, village issue.
you know what, we'll paint it black, can we get a black spray paint?
Paint the grass black.
Paint a black strip
Stop
down
doing
there.
anything for me.
to that point, has anyone checked about whether we have gotten our, we call it easements from?
No, we haven't been, that's one of the things that I'd like to be doing, the easements for the.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think we gotta. I don't know.
If you're gonna put it off on me, how about you work on those easements for me then?
Well, I don't know if we can turn them off. I know we have.
Let's write them up.
Yeah,
Speaking of easements, I was at the ag.
Thank you, John, for
meeting
bringing
last
that
night, and they were
up.
talking about the trailer park and the Aubrey Trail going up there.
Oh, yeah.
Any way we can massage that a little bit to make that happen?
They were not,
They were
not
flat
happy.
against it.
Yeah, they were straight up no.
well, they're gonna be expanding
Yeah,
the
they
park.
were,
They want to expand the park, right?
35.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Well, they have a
Oh, then they're
multiple
they're
year,
required,
5-phase expansion.
then we gotta require them to put the offer.
Trailer park.
The pretty road park.
On,
That
the,
solves
Perk,
everything.
on
The
Perk.
Burks.
I don't
It's a
think they
freaking
call it
trail,
trailer
it's-
park.
Oh, you're
NCY.
right, manufactured.
It's a
homes.
community.
Yeah.
If
I
they're-
know Doug worked with him,
that-
long and hard.
So
Yeah.
I've, you know, I mean, I went to school with Marlies, who was.
Oh, is that who it
Who was one of her husband has kind of worked over through there too and is moving in part of the running of the business. I can give it a shot and see where we are, but I think we can also, as
is?
part
10-foot
of,
wide trail.
It'll certainly come up, I mean, yeah, now requiring it.
Make it a condition of approval.
I mean, I know with the last expansion, we required an easement across the frontage of
Mhm.
Brickyard and Everty.
I mean, requiring it through the back end there, that was the cheapest option for the,
Right,
in the
Auburn Trail.
Auburn Trail.
because we can't use the
Class.
airport
What are the other,
I have a great relationship.
We had that whole, was it Bergman?
with the
that did
Burks
that?
too.
Was
Maybe
it
both of
Bergman
us
that did
could-
it? Yeah,
Pardon me?
I
Maybe
mean, they
both
had
of
it
us can
mapped
do
out
that.
and everything with 3 different options and.
It's not a big ass.
I know the
No,
father.
it's not, 10 feet wide.
Yeah, it's not a big ass,
Yeah.
right?
I'm trying to think, security was an issue with them.
I think they just
People
didn't
walking
like going
through
through.
next to units.
Right, I remember all that.
I just think they didn't
That
like
was all the
it.
reasoning.
But they're asking now
We could
for
buffer it
an
and
expansion,
Oh.
a major
double,
expansion, by the
yeah,
way.
double the size, yep.
oh,
It
they
could
should
be-
recommendation the Ag
have-
Committee
It could
was
be
for it.
buffered, screened, fenced, you know.
I mean, if they
anything.
want a connection, let them pay for it, make that a condition of approval, whatever. But
That's what
I don't know that they need a
Good
condition of
question that,
approval is the problem.
Yeah.
The, one of the items that was on the list, shouldn't be on the list anymore, was the, Geneco Road.
Mhm.
Now, supposedly, that conversation, they agreed that they would pay for that road.
Mhm.
Chris was going to modify that agreement. I've never seen anything stating that in print, that that thing was done.
Great question.
Are we not wanting to vote for it?
We're not on the hook, so here's the thing, we're not on the hook for the road, because once the water line is in. The only reason we said we would pay for the road is to get the water line.
Right.
So I mean, it's in our best
We
interest to
are,
have a
we're
road,
on the hook for,
But-
what are they, the fire hydrants.
Well,
that's it. It's,
I think we could pay for fire.
but that is just the. You know, the provide, and he's, when I talked to Dave and how stupid it was to put them in the beginning. and he agrees with that.
Yeah.
That
But that's,
it's an end thing. It's not a beginning, just plunk them in there like right away thing, because it said it makes no sense and you're cutting holes in a massive water. A distribution line that's not meant to have all these breaks put in it. I'm okay with the road only because again. We don't have a commitment to build a road. We don't have there's nothing in writing to do anything. It was just, the discussion was, hey, if you let us put this line here, then yeah, we'll pay for the road and do it. The line's in, the work's done. If they wanna build their project, they have to put in the road. Their project goes nowhere without a road.
In one of our town board meetings, I remember distinctly, I had asked
yeah,
Chris to get that.
But I'll follow up.
we did.
I'll follow up.
He hasn't done it.
You're absolutely right.
And because of the delay, it makes me think there's an issue with it. So
Okay, I got you. I
Yep,
respect that. I
you're right.
get it.
Is this still recording?
Yes,
Okay. I'm
yes.
dealing with it.